Black made a move. Pawn takes b5. Pause the video to analyze white's next move. Black is looking to play pawn takes a4 and increase their advantage significantly. Pawn takes b5 played by white. King d7. King b4. White is looking to play. Pawn takes c6 check. King takes c6. King a5. King c7. King b5. King d8. King b6 and gain a significant edge. Pawn takes b5 played by black. King takes b5. King c7. King b4. White's idea is to play King b5. King c8. King b6 and dominate the board. King d7 move preferred by black. King a4. King c6. King a5. King c7. King b5. White's idea is to play King b4. King d7. King a4. King e6. King a5. King d7. King b6. Pawn h5. King takes b7 and secure a stronghold in the game. Pawn b6 played by black. Pawn takes b6 check. King d7. King a6. King e7. Pawn b7. King d7. Pawn promotes to queen at b8. King e7. Black is struggling to keep up. Let's go to the next game. Black played King g6. Pause the video and try to predict white's next move. King g4. King f6. King h5. White wants to play King h6. King f5. King g7. King e4. King f6 and gain a significant edge. King f5 played by black. Pawn b3. King f6. King h6. King f5. King g7. White is setting up to play King f7. King e5. King g6. Pawn g4. Pawn takes g4. King d4. Pawn g5 and establish a winning position. King e5 move preferred by black. King g6. White is setting up to play King takes g5 and secure a stronghold in the game. Pawn g4 played by black. Black's idea is to play pawn takes h3 and dominate the board. Pawn takes g4 move preferred by white. King d4. King f6. King c3. Pawn g5. King takes b3. Pawn g6. King takes a4. Pawn g7. King b3. Pawn promotes to queen at g8. White wants to play King e7. King b4. Queen g4. King c3. King d6 and seize the initiative. King c3. Black is struggling to keep up. Let's go to the next game. Black just played King g6. Pause the video to spot white's next move. King takes g4. King f6. Pawn h5. Pawn h6. King f3. King f5. King e3. King g4. King e4. King h3. Pawn f5. King g4. Pawn f6. White is aiming to play pawn f7. King takes h5. King f4 and increase their advantage significantly. King takes h5 move preferred by black. King f5. White considers playing pawn f7. King h4. King f4 and take decisive advantage. King h4 played by black. King f4. King h3. King f3. King h4. Pawn f7. King g5. Pawn promotes to queen at f8. White wants to play Queen f4 check. King g6. king g3, king g7, queen f5, pawn h5, king h4, and increase their advantage significantly. King g6. Black is struggling to keep up. Let's go to the next game. Black just played king g6. Pause the video to find out white's response. King g4, king h7, king h5, king g8, king g6, king f8, pawn e4. White is aiming to play king h7, king e7, king takes g7, pawn e5, pawn g6, and increase their advantage significantly. Pawn e5 move preferred by black. King f5, king f7, king takes e5, king e7, king d5, king d7, pawn e5, king e7, pawn e6. White is planning to play king e5, king d8, king f5, king e7, king g6, king takes e6, king takes g7, and establish a winning position. King f8 move preferred by black. King e5, king e7, king f5, king d6, king g6. White's idea is to play king f7, king e5, pawn g6, king d5, pawn e7, king d6. Pawn promotes to queen at e8 and gain a significant edge. King takes e6 move preferred by black. King takes g7, king e7. White is clearly ahead. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. On a3. Pause the video to figure out black's next move. On b5. Black's idea is to play pawn takes c4 and secure a stronghold in the game. Pawn takes b5 move preferred by white. King takes b5, king b3, pawn a4 check, king c3, king c5. Black intends to play pawn h6, king d3, king d5, king c3, king e5, king c4, pawn h5, king c3, king f4, and increase their advantage significantly. King d3 was chosen by white. King d5. Black is looking to play pawn h6, king c3, king e5, king b4, pawn h5, king takes a4, pawn g5, and dominate the board. King c3 played by white. King e5, king b4, pawn h5, king c5, pawn g5. Black's idea is to play pawn takes h4 and take decisive advantage. Pawn takes g5 played by white. Pawn h4, king b5, pawn h3, pawn f4 check, king f5, king takes a4, pawn h2, king b4, pawn promotes to queen at h1. Black wants to play queen d5, pawn g6, king e4, pawn g7, king d4, and secure a stronghold in the game. On a4. White has no response. Let's go to the next game. Black played pawn takes h4. Pause the video to find out white's response. Black might go for pawn takes g3 and take decisive advantage. Pawn takes h4 played by white. King c4. Black considers playing king d3, pawn b3, king takes e3 and gain a significant edge. King c2 move preferred by white. King c5, pawn b3, king d5, king d2, king e5, king e2. White considers playing king f2, On f4. On takes f4 check. King takes f4. On a4, and secure a stronghold in the game. On f4 played by black. On takes f4 check. King takes f4. On a4. On takes a4. On takes a4. King e5. King e3. King f5. On a5. King e5. On a6. King f5. On a7. King e6. King takes e4. King d6. On promotes to queen at a8. King c5. Black's loss is confirmed. Let's go to the next game. Black just played. On c5. Pause the video to figure out white's next move. King d3. King e7. King c4. White is preparing to play. King takes c5 and seizes the initiative. King d6 was chosen by black. King b5. King d5. On b3. King d6. King b6. King d5. King c7. White is setting up to play. King d7. On e5. On takes e5. King takes e5. King c6. On c4. On takes c4 and gain a significant edge. King d4 was chosen by black. King d6. White is looking to play. King takes e6 and increase their advantage significantly. King e4 move preferred by black. King takes c5. On e5. On takes e5. King takes e5. On b4. King f5. On b5. King e6. On b6. King d7. On b7. White wants to play. Pawn promotes to queen at b8 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King c7 was chosen by black. King d5. King b8. King c6. White is setting up to play. King b6. On g5. On takes g5. On h4. On g6. On takes g3. On g7. On g2. On promotes to queen at g8 mate and increase their advantage significantly. On g5 move preferred by black. On takes g5. King a7. White has a strong upper hand. Let's go to the next game. White just played. On c4. Pause the video to find out black's response. On f6. On takes f6. King takes f6. King d5. White is setting up to play. King takes d6 and seizes the initiative. King e7 was chosen by black. King e4. King e6. King d3. King f5. Black is preparing to play. King takes f4 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King e3 move preferred by white. On g5. Black intends to play. Pawn takes f4 check and put immense pressure on the opponent. On takes g5 played by white. King takes g5. King e4. King takes h6. King f5. King g7. King e6. On h5. King takes d6. King f6. King takes c5. On h4. Black is preparing to play. King e7. King d4. On h3. On b4. On h2. On b5. On promotes to queen at h1 and take decisive advantage. King c6 move preferred by white. King e6. King b5. On h3. On c5. On h2. King c4. On promotes to queen at h1. King d4. White is on the verge of defeat. Let's go to the next game. Black just played. King e5. Pause the video to find out white's response. On takes f4 check. On takes f4. On a4. King d4. King takes f4. On a6. King f3. White's idea is to play King f4. King d5. King f5. King d4. King g6. King e3. King takes h6. King d2. On g5, and take decisive advantage. King d5 was chosen by black. On c3. King e5. King e3. On b5. On takes b5. On takes b5. On d4 check. King d6. On takes c5 check. King takes c5. On b3. White wants to play King f4. King d6. King f5. King d5. On c4 check. On takes c4. On takes c4 check, and take decisive advantage. On b4 played by black. On c4. King d6. King e4. King c6. King d4. King d6. On c5 check. King e6. King c4. White considers playing King takes b4 and seizes the initiative. King e5 was chosen by black. King b5. King d5. On c6. King d4. On c7. King e5. On promotes to queen at c8. King f6. Black is outplayed. Let's go to the next game. Black made a move. Knight takes g4 check. Pause the video to analyze white's next move. Bishop takes g4. King takes g4. On b5. King g5. King d4. White is aiming to play on e5. King f5. On takes d6 and increase their advantage significantly. King f6 played by black. King d5. King e7. King c6. White's idea is to play King takes c7 and seize the initiative. King d8 was chosen by black. King b7. White considers playing King a6. King e8. King takes a7 and take decisive advantage. King d7 move preferred by black. King takes a7. King e7. King b7. White might go for King takes c7 and take decisive advantage. King d7 played by black. On c4. King d8. King c6. King c8. King d5. King d7. On e5. White is aiming to play on e6 check. King e7. King c6. King f6. On e7. King takes e7. King takes c7 and gain a significant edge. On takes e5 was chosen by black. On c5. On takes c5. On the 5. White is looking to play on a6. King e7. On a7 and seize the initiative. On c4 was chosen by black. Black is setting up to play on c3. On b6. On takes b6. On takes b6. On c2 and establish a winning position. King takes c4 played by white. King c8. King d5. King b7. King takes e5. On c6. On b6. King a6. King d6. King b7. King c5. King a6. King takes c6. King takes a5. Black is on the verge of defeat. Let's go to the next game.